Welcome back to another video, and today I will be doing a first impression video on Essences and Catrice this fall 2024 edit products. Okay, so for today we are actually having I think almost a full face of new makeup. So as I said on the intro, we are having both new releases from Catrice's and Essence's fall edit from this fall, and I think currently these products are mostly available in Europe. I don't know when these are going to be available in States, because I do know that with Catrice and Essence it does take time for the stuff to go over the seas. So, but anyway, about the product, so we will be testing out the new Catrice concealer, this is foundation. So this is their Invisible Cover Foundation, and I think this is something that they've been promoting also on their social media now quite heavily. We are also base products going to try this one. So this is a corrector that came with the new Essence fall release, and this is the first time in a long time that I'm actually trying out a corrector, so we will see will this do miracles to under my eyes. Then we are actually gonna also do from Catrice this Bright and Blur Loose Powder. So this is their version of the pink powder that's been very trendy. I will be trying this again to under my eyes. I don't think this will work too well if I will put it all over my face, so we will do so that I will put this under my eyes for a moment and then wipe away the excess and see that again will this help with the dark under eyes that I do have. Then we are actually going to try a new eyeshadow palette. This is from the Catrice, so this is the Soft Peony eyeshadow palette, and I am hoping that maybe, because I didn't like the quality of the revamped Catrice eyeshadow palettes that they came out in the which used to be the Slim Pro line. I don't remember what was the new name of the line, but I wasn't such a big fan of the quality of the palettes of the revamped Slim Pro line, which now have the plastic window, actually end up decluttering the palette that I got during the spring. So I'm hoping now that this a format that they also have done palettes previously, that this could be better. The swatches of this were pretty okay. There's already a swatch of YouTube shorts, Instagram reels if you want to see those. Then we are trying a mascara. This is again from Catrice, so this is the Glam Endless Lash Mascara that we will be trying out and see how I will like it. Then again, let's go to Essence products. So we are I wasn't actually meant to buy either of these products, but because when I was ordering these, so I got this whole order from Bougie Shop, some things were sold out from the Catrice stuff and some stuff were sold out from the Essence stuff. And I did want to try out the Catrice double-sided blushes, the one that had powder and the other one that has a cream, the other side has cream. However, the only shade available when I was making the order was the very punchy pink, and I already have so many pink blushes, so that's why we are instead trying this these stick blushes and then this very funky looking highlighter, which might be the worst purchase I made, but oh well. Then something I'm pretty interested in, so Essence expanded their Baby Got line, so I have the blush from this line from the spring, and while I wasn't exactly happy how the shade inside matched the packaging, I did like the quality of the liquid blush in this kind of packaging, so I have very high hopes for this contour bronzer from Essence. And for the last product, I think we are doing this one. So these are the colored lip balms that Catrice came in their fall edit. Unfortunately, the liquid lipsticks, those weren't even listed on Bougie Shop's website, so I don't know will those liquid lipsticks be Catrice own website exclusive product, or is that going to be a product that I will be able to find when these start trickling down, because both the Essence and Catrice stuff, neither of these are yet in our Catrice and Essence retailer. That's why I ordered them online, because I want to get them quicker, but I wasn't able to get the liquid lipstick that I had been hoping to try out from the new Catrice stuff, so we are trying the colored lip balm instead. But how are we gonna do this? I think we will again do first the eyes, and then we will move to do the whole base makeup, so in that order, and then we will continue the cheeks, and then we will lastly end with the lips. First product for the eyes, and actually I forgot, we will do so that I will first do the eyeshadow, then I will do the base makeup, and in between, because I use concealer to usually clean up the eyeshadow that usually goes over the lid area, then I will, after applying the base product, meaning the foundation, the corrector that we're using today, then I will do the mascara in between, but I will tell when that happens. But first, our eyeshadow product. So this is the Soft Peony eyeshadow palette, and Catrice has a decent amount of palettes in this line. I think this was now the 5th or 6th one. And the previous color stories have been kind of meh, nothing that has interested in me, but this was a color story that I thought that I could now try this out, because I am now looking that is this maybe now better than the new sort of rectangular palettes that have the clear true window, which I was not such a big fan of. Again, we will be doing this eye because the lighting conditions are always better on that side because there are windows there, and there is a bit of an issue. This doesn't have, like, if you have watched the YouTube shorts that I have for swatching this is actually pretty shimmer heavy, so we might have to actually use some shimmers in base of mattes, mainly talking about maybe the two deeper shades here to get something deepening up. But I think for the sort of all over the lid color, we will start with this pale pink shade here. These don't have shade names in them, so I will just like point them out and sort of try to describe the shade. But let's actually start with that one, and I maybe should have gotten my brushes out. I do think generally, like, when I was looking at the stuff, I am pretty, like, I'd say kinda excited, but the liquid lipstick that again was not available from Catrice online when I ordered this, I think that might be like really the only product that I will sort of buy afterwards when those start coming to like our local brick and mortar stores, but I am pretty happy with the other stuff that I did manage to get, and I do think that there's actually seems to be like, I'm having like high hopes for this because I did generally like the sort of quality also with both of the Essence and Catrice spring releases, so I'm hoping that also the fall releases have the same quality. But I'm going to be putting this very fluffy brush, and drugstore shadow, it is a bit powdery. I'm just gonna tilt it straight out. And let's see, with some of the mattes I did feel that I had to swatch like a couple of times to get the shade to build on my arms, so I am not expecting, how should I say, I have sort of positive expectation from the eyeshadow because it did swatch better than I anticipated. However, it wasn't like the super the best eyeshadow ever feeling when I did swatch them, so let's see where we will land in the end. Pale pink shade seems to be, you do have to build this up. I am gonna say that like straight out of the bat that you do have to actually build this up quite a bit, and I would definitely recommend using a more white based primer to get this pop, even if you especially have a deeper skin tone than I do. I think that's as much as it's going to build. So maybe we will do so that we are gonna do this sort of all over pink look today with some, maybe something to deepen up the outer lid. So for the middle part of the lid, we will be using this sort of very punchy hot pink shade over here. I think generally my suspicion is that there is the, like, I do think it's a smart color story that there is definitely, like, you can do clearly a pink and a silver look and then something in between, so it's not completely a, I think, one-sided, like very one-toned color story, because I did watch some of these other palettes that they have released in this line, and some of them were pretty, I'd say, monochromatic, though most of them were like quite neutral also in tones, so that's also why they might not have looked as diverse as maybe some of the Slim Pro palettes that they don't no longer do, but they have now the new line of those. That actually I think did build quite quickly. Just gonna blend out the edge with the brush that I used to blend out the lighter shade, and yeah. So for the outer corner to get some depth, I think both of the sort of deep shades are metallic shades, but I think for today we will be using the one that's not, so this is more, I'd say, slate gray, while the other one I think is almost like a full black, but we're using this one, so just thinking that would it be actually better to maybe use a finger. Yeah, let's do so that we will just use a finger, because I think that's gonna get the best application. And here you can see it is, I think, more of a satin rather than a straight out shimmer, so I think it actually is going to work for the outer corner. Yeah, actually with a finger this applies pretty, yeah, So definitely I'd say with these satin shimmer shades in the palette, use a finger, you're gonna get the best application, because I really didn't have to pick up that much and it already gave a quite opaque layer. That's not actually bad. Yeah, definitely for with finger use quite nice. Then I'm gonna just use again the fluffier brush we used to apply the first shade and then blend in the middle part. Yeah, it is definitely there, but okay, so maybe a tip, don't blend out once you set in the satin shade. Don't maybe try to blend too much, because that definitely, it seemed to happen that when I used the fluffier brush, it sort of almost blended the shade away, so just maybe something to consider, that these, if you overblend, these don't really seem to last on your eyes. So then I'd say for the last one, we do have a few shimmers here that we can use, obviously because it is shimmer heavy, but I think for the middle part of the sort of lid we will use this one that has a much bigger pan. I'm just gonna swatch it again so you will see it. I think this is quite of what I would call a Barbie pink shade, would be the correct description of that one. I do say that you're not gonna get anything, like if you're expecting anything super shimmery, you're not gonna get that with these palettes. So even with fingers, these aren't quite satin-esque, but they do, I'd say, apply quite well, especially if you build them with your finger. Yeah, so this is how the end result is looking. I'm gonna do the other eye off camera and then we will be moving to the base products, and actually we're gonna use the corrector first. But so far, first impression about the eyeshadow, just applying it, it seemed you do need to build some of the paler, like pink matte shade, you definitely had to build that one. The mid-tone pink shade actually did build relatively quickly. The satin shades, definitely use your fingers, and be careful if you blend the edges with your brush, because these do tend to have a habit of blending away if you try to blend on top of them. So that's just first impression, and of course this will be included in a collective review like all the products in this video later, so I will be then able to talk more about the durability. But let's now get to the other eye and then we will be testing out the corrector. So both of the eyes are done in terms of eyeshadow, and let's now try some of the base products. I just moved the palette away. So this is the Essence Conceal, what is it, Correct and Conceal, and this is the light sort of peachy shade, which hopefully if I understood right, should help in sort of defending against sort of black, or sort of correcting black and blue from under your eyes if you have fair to light skin tone. They have several corrector shades, and something that I will say for the Essence credit, there were also corrector shades for deeper skin tones. So because we do know that Essence and Catrice have been critiqued for the fact that they haven't always done inclusive shade ranges, but with these ones there should be like at least some to also for deeper skin tones. But I think for the corrector we are going to do so that I will be using this kind of brush. So this is the same brush that I use for my sort of eyeshadow base, so that we don't have the corrector blending away completely, because with a sponge I might think that it might suck this up quite quickly. Have I had any experience with correctors? I think I might have used one or two maybe like years ago when the first ones I started making their way into like our makeup stores, but my experience was kind of meh with them, though I was quite like 20 something, so also my under eyes looked much, I think, more or less tired than they look these days. I have no idea how much you're supposed to put this, but I'd say generally my experience with Essence is like with Catrice. I do think that I have like most of their base products, their concealers and their foundations have been pretty great, but with Essence I haven't had such luck, so we shall see how this will. And obviously the corrector's idea isn't meant to correct, so it's not meant to like cover completely, unlike with the concealer where the idea is to, obviously based on the name, is to conceal completely. Okay, I think that did that do anything? Maybe I'll add another layer just to be sure, and I will obviously think I'll make the judgment at the end of the video when I have the whole base routine down. I do say the formula feels actually quite nice. I don't feel that it's cakey or anything like that. Yeah, I think that's as good as it's going to get. Yeah, so that's the corrector. You probably will be able to better judge it because I can't see the viewfinder. I'm not wearing my glasses. We are actually directly going to just, how should I actually do this? I'm just gonna be like honest, I'm gonna show this. So my foundation is not gonna match my concealer. So the concealer is, this is the concealer that's pretty hyped because this was released with the sort of previous very hyped foundation that Catrice had. I even think that Westbrook was the one who sort of made the foundation that this concealer originally came with pretty popular. And for me, this is in the shade Cool Cashmere. So this is a shade that I'd say is quite close to my own like skin, because this, unfortunately, with the foundation, they had already sold out some of the lighter shades, and I think the 120 Cool C, which was the cool toned light, I think that would have been very much. This is, I have like already tried this a couple of times, so this is a bit on the paler side, so that is the reason why I think that I will first put the concealer on and then we will get to the actually to the foundation, because then it will mix in better. Because if I will put this over the foundation, then it's gonna look a bit funny, because then it's obvious it's gonna be like much darker when you put this on top. But yeah, I'm gonna just quickly go to camera, put the concealer, and then we will get back with the foundation. So the concealer is on, and let's now get to this foundation. So this is the Invisible Cover Foundation, and this is from Catrice. And this promises natural matte finish with 16-hour comfortable wear. After now wearing a couple of days of this, I will say straight out, this is a matte foundation. So if you're thinking this is going to be one of those satin matte foundations that have a bit more, I'd say, not glowiness, but they aren't as heavy, then I sadly have to disappoint you. I will be using a sponge with this one because I tried this the first same day with a foundation brush, and with that one I felt that it got quite heavy quite quickly. So in terms of how suitable this is, for example, someone like me who's in their 30s and who do actually have a bit of texture already on their skin. In terms of durability, I do say, because I do still have an oily-leaning skin, so this is foundation that I can definitely already say after wearing it a couple of days that it will actually last pretty well. However, I have already noticed wearing this that this definitely is a matte foundation in terms of the fact that it does cling on to some of the sort of drier patches that I have, so some that are around my mouth and some that I have in my forehead. So with this one I am going to be using a wet sponge because it will give some control, and as I said, this is going to be making me look like very pasty, because this is shade 2. Too light. In terms of shade range, I do think this had quite of an extensive one. However, I do know that with Catrice and Essence the issue is that usually in store finding the deeper shades can be a bit difficult, because usually in store they only like stock the light to fair and maybe some of the medium shades. So I can understand that why some people might feel that they can't find, for example, in Europe, if you are someone shopping from drugstore, and because both of these brands are easy accessible and you feel that you can't find shades, it could be that they actually have a shade, but because the stores have a limited shelf space, they tend to stock only the fair and light shades, which of course it's not okay. I do think that you should be able to also find your shades with affordable brands. So I did discuss already that this does obviously, based on just now wearing it, this does cling to some of the like more textured areas that I do have. However, I have liked sort of, I think this is one of those foundations that I would like quite honestly say that to filming purposes, this is actually a pretty good foundation, because it actually looks quite nice on most of the photos that I have posted to social media while wearing this one. Just gonna do my nose and then you can kind of see the comparison. one more dot over there and yeah, it's for example on my nose, the sides of my nose do have dry patches, and this is definitely not. This is definitely clinging to them. So buyer beware. I'm just gonna. Why is it not looking nice? Okay, I don't know how bad it's looking in terms of the camera. I'm definitely not gonna be zooming in, but you can see like now some the light obviously comes from this side, so it might actually like make it look even a bit better. But this is the kind of coverage you get when you use a couple of layers with sponge. So comparing this side and this side. And I think in terms of camera, and as I said from the photos that I have taken with this one, the foundation looks nice, but I can definitely see that, for example, in the sides of my nose that do have a bit of dryness, this is definitely clinging to those patches. And I would not recommend this foundation. Like I can already say that if you have a dry skin, don't like buy this one, because this is definitely like, I'm gonna show I have still some in my hand. This is definitely like one of those like thicker matte foundations. So I think they should have just like, because they are kind of advertising this as a natural matte finish, but this is like a matte, like genuinely a matte foundation. So don't like buy this thinking that it's gonna give like maybe more of a satin-like finish. So for those of you who have very oily skin, I do think that based on just a couple of days trying, you will like this quite a lot. But for those of you who have dry skin or just a lot of texture in general, I would like stay away from this one. I'm gonna do the rest of my face, and then next we will move to the cheek products, which we also have a whole full like sort of cheek routine. Okay, so I lied, I actually forgot that we do have 2 other steps that we're gonna do before we get to a cheek product. So first one, because I do think this is what you're supposed to do with this kind of product. So this is the Bright and Blur, and this is now the first pink powder that I am going to be trying like ever. I haven't tried a pink powder before, however, because I have a cool rosy undertone, this is supposed to be a product that should be like very suitable for me, but we shall see about that one. And I'm just gonna, it is like, I'd say, I'm just gonna see that if I could maybe put it to the camera then. I would have, it did look a bit more lighter on the sort of online photos, so let's see that, especially if this oxidizes, then is it actually gonna be too deep for me to use. But I was hoping that this would actually be a bit more fairer than, because if this is a product that oxidizes, then it's not gonna be suitable for sort of my user purposes, but we shall see. I'm just gonna use a dryer sponge so I can put this like under there, and while this is sort of laying under my eyes, we will be doing the mascara, but let's okay, that's a lot of powder to the cap. Just an FYI, I don't think I'm at the age anymore where you're supposed to do like heavy baking under your eyes, because I think my eyes definitely are on the point, under eyes are definitely on the point where they'd rather enjoy hydration rather than a thick layer of powder, but oh well. Okay, yeah, I think that's gonna be like quite enough. That's gonna hang out there for a while we are doing the mascara. So this is from Catrice, and this is the Glam, what is this called? Glam Doll Endless Lashes Mascara. So it comes in the sort of wine purple packaging. I haven't tried Catrice mascaras in this packaging. They do have several in this line. I tried one mascara, I think it was from the Spring Edit, which was in a very thick, I'd say blue kind of tube, and I wasn't a fan of that one, but let's see if this is better. And this is how the bristle looks like, so plastic bristles, and it is this more sort of like, how should I describe this? I think square is how it's shaped in the end, so that's quite interesting, and I didn't actually read like what's this supposed to do, so we shall see. And we are doing, again, this eye for the... It is actually quite small of a wand, so actually for someone like me who has a smaller eye shape, this actually could be quite of a good product, because if you have watched me reviewing mascara, you do know that one of my complaints usually are that if the mascara wand is quite big, it is quite hard for me to get the mascara wand to my lashes, and it usually can mess up the sort of lid area. this is actually looking pretty impressive on first application. Because it really helps because the one side is quite small, I can get to the sort of end of my lash and then sort of do the spreading from there, and this formula seems to be just in the good medium, that it's not too wet but also it's not too dry of a formulation. This is actually looking pretty great if I say so myself. And that's just sort of... Wow, that's actually... I'm taking now second or third layer, so let's see how this builds. Okay, so first impression, you can kind of see also the difference between the eyes. So this seems to be a separating and lengthening mascara, however I do actually think that this does add quite a bit of also volume. So first impression I am going to see, because with mascaras especially I don't like to give out my opinion of them completely based on just first impression, because I do want to see how the formula sort of ages when it gets some more air. So usually after a couple of weeks of using a mascara I can better tell if I will like it. But so far I am pretty impressed, and I do actually like, because I was thinking that yeah, the square type of plastic wand, how is this gonna do? But actually, because the wand is quite small, it is very easy, especially if you're smaller eye shape, to get it to the sort of bottom of your lash and then comb the whole mascara through the lash. So so far I am quite liking this. We shall of course see how this goes when this sort of dries out, the formula dries out a bit more. I'm gonna do the other eye off camera, and while I'm off camera I'm also gonna wipe off the sort of pink powder from under my eyes, and then we will sort of get back how I feel before we will go to the cheek products. So mascaras on both eyes, and I did wipe away the excess pink powder. How should I say? My under eyes are looking a bit on the drier side if you get too close by, but that is what I sort of expected, especially if you just layer a thick layer of powder, and especially someone again who has a bit of already under eye, maybe the beginning of under eye wrinkles, and definitely because the skin the under eyes is not as subtle as it used to, then obviously if you apply a lot of powder it's not exactly gonna do favors. I do think that it has, now that I looked at it, there was a bit of a brightening effect to this, so I will keep testing this out, and maybe I will just do so that I will just apply one layer with my brush quickly instead of piling it up, so that way they won't be looking and feeling too dry. So I will keep testing this out and see how I will in the end like the powder. Mascara, as I said, so far pretty impressed. Let's see what happens when the formula gets more air. Now for the cheeks, and my god, we do have a full cheek routine here. So first one we're going to do contour. So this is the Baby Got Bronze liquid bronzer, and this is in the shade, I think it's the 01 Sweet Shadow is the shade of this. So this I think is supposed to be the cool toned shade for the fairest skin. So this is supposed to be suitable for me. And just like with the blush, I am not going to apply it directly from the sort of applicator, but I will put some in my hand and then on my cheeks, and this is how the shade is looking. I do think that is actually probably gonna be quite alright for me. So we are doing this cheek first, and I am going to be a bit careful because I do remember that this will build quickly. It has the very similar scent that the blushes have, so it's not a bad scent. It is, I think, bit of a floral scent, but it does go away once you use the product, or at least with the blushes it did. Hopefully also with this bronzer shade also. And how are we looking? It is looking pretty decent, I'd say. So in terms of shade matching, I do think that it is cool enough for my skin undertone, so we have a winner in terms of the shade match already, I can tell that much. I think I did go a bit over to the other side, so I will use sponge to clean that up a little bit. So let's see, how are we? So this definitely does pack a punch, so definitely if you're fair, or if you're even more fairer than I am, then start slow, because this is a product that does build quite fast, so just so you are aware of that. I think, yeah, I think in terms of like cheeks, is it clinging a bit? This could be the foundation now, because it is quite of a matte foundation, so it could actually be that it's now the very matte foundation that is actually maybe causing it to cling. Because I am seeing, especially from this side, there seems to be that it did get stuck maybe a bit on the textured areas, but I am not going to yet give final judgment, because it could be now the fault of the foundation rather than actually the product itself. I'm gonna do the under of my chin, and then we will get to the sort of blush and highlighter product that I have for this segment. So the second Essence cheek product is this one. So this is Baby Cut Blush, and this is the sort of cheek version, stick version of this particular blush, because also the sort of wand blushes that are in liquids, those are also named Baby Cut Blush. And I think the shade of this one is called 50 Sherry Baby. So they have already a range of these already. So this is a shade extension, and I think with this one we will do, so this is how the shade is looking like. So I will apply it a few dots to my cheeks, and then we are obviously, because this is a more of a balmy texture, I will be using a thicker blush brush so that it's gonna be like an optimal. Okay, yeah, that's probably. And what I'm most interested in is that how easily does this blend out, because it is quite. I definitely felt quite sticky and thick of a formula. So I can already see why I wasn't too excited about this one. So I'm not sure how obvious it's to camera, but there is a blush that is sticking to this part of my cheek. However, I think with a sponge that's gonna be, yeah, that's fixed. So there's a reason why I'm not usually like with stick contours. For some reason I have better luck with those, but with these sort of stick blushes are not my sort of go-to in terms of cream blushes, because yeah, it has, as you saw, there is some of them, there's definitely the chance that they will just like stick in place and you can't blend them. I do say it's more of a glowier finish, so if you were looking for a super matte blush, then I wouldn't like get this, but I do think that now that I have it blended out, it's looking quite okay. So let's actually now. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of product. Thankfully this, even though it is a darker cherry shade, this does sheer out. However, my issue is that yeah, it's again doing so that it's sticking to sort of this side also to that area of the cheek, so it is not exactly. You do need the help of a sponge to get this to sort of spread evenly, which I am not a super fan of, because with my cream cheek product I would prefer if I could like use my brushes, because I do feel that the application is a bit more even. So the shade is definitely there. It is like, how should I say, it's a pretty deep shades. I do think on a more medium or a tan skin tone this is actually going to be like the best shade. However, if you have a light to fair skin tone, these do sheer out, but in terms of blending, I would maybe take a wet sponge. However, with cream blushes also, if you take wet sponge, the sponge does take away some of the pigment, so just so you are aware. But with a brush, they're definitely not the most, like, I'd say, ideal tool to blend these out. And I have a hair that's getting continuously on the way, but yeah. I think that's as good as it's going to get with this one. So I actually do kind of like the shade, but in terms of how easy this was to blend out, I think that's not exactly the best first impression. Okay, then a product that I'm a bit horrified to wear, but I had to try this out. So this is the sort of highlighter. So is this also, yeah. So this is Baby Got a Glow. Baby Got Holo Glow is the name of this. So as you can already like see from the kind of packaging, it is kind of giving the sort of disco-esque effect. And I'm just gonna like swipe this first on my fingers. I'm not gonna drag this through because this is how the shade is looking like. It is supposed to be, at least based on the images, more of an iridescent finish, so it shouldn't be like this pigmented. However, just to be safe, then sorry, I am first actually gonna apply it like to my finger and dab it on my cheeks. Because I am a bit afraid, and this is looking very glittery. It is actually like, yeah, it is like an iridescent peach, if I'm like. And then, oh god, this is feeling very sticky, so let's see what the durability of this one is. It actually does smell like peaches a little bit, so if you like your scented makeup, then this could be. I don't think I'm that particular age group that this is targeted. I think this is definitely a product that is maybe targeted towards teens rather than some of us in their 30s, because oh my, that is a lot of glow. Let's try to blend it in a bit with the blush. And we're actually gonna have to do also this because it is not looking as smooth. How should I say that? I'm not like completely hating it, but now that I have it on my cheek, I was quite afraid how, because if you watch have the shades side by side, I was kind of thinking that how is this and this gonna go together, but it is actually, in terms of blending into the blush, it's actually pretty okay, but this is like, I'd say, very glitter heavy, like glitter in Vaseline kind of a product that I don't think I'm not such a big fan of, but yeah. Let's actually now do the other cheek so we can sort of get a cohesive result, but how do I say, my expectations for this product were not very high, because this is also because Essence is the more inexpensive brand of. From the two, a lot of the Essence products are also kind of, I think, targeted more like made in the idea of thinking that the buyer is like a preteen or a teen rather than maybe a full-grown adult who maybe should like afford also a bit more maybe like the Catrice stuff, which are definitely like, from the Catrice products you can clearly see that those are maybe made the more like mature consumer in mind. So I'm probably not the target audience for this cream highlighter in the first place, so yeah, it is there, it is glowy. I think the end result, like, it's looking pretty okay, but it is like definitely glowing and it is there, and I'm still maybe not such a fan of having the feeling of a glittery Vaseline thing on my cheeks, but at least as a sort of cohesive look, like, this came out much better than what I was expecting. But I will keep testing out, because this is a formula that I haven't tested out before I will give my final review. But the blush, I do say that I do like the shade of this one. We shall see when I keep using this that can I get over the fact that this was a bit patchy to like spread out on your cheeks. We shall see about this one. This, luckily, there's not a lot of product, I think, within these small tubes, so maybe I'm able to use this out. But so far I do think that this may be not a product that just is geared towards maybe someone in my particular age. But yeah, last product I think we will be going through then to the lip balm, and then I will sort of give my sort of conclusions of this sort of first impression of trying out these new Catrice and Essence products. So for the lips, as I said, I didn't get the lip product that I wanted because the product wasn't like at all available in the retailer. So it wasn't available at all. The liquid lipsticks which are supposed to come with the Catrice fall edit, those weren't like at all available on Boozer's website, so I had to like make some compromises. So instead I did get this one, so these are the Care in Colors Lip Balm from Catrice, and this is a completely new product in their line, so it's not a shade extension, this is a complete product. However, they do have had quite a lot of like balmy lip products, because those have been quite trendy on the makeup market, so I'm not gonna like also talk about that, because this is a trendy product currently. And I wanted to take a shade that I think should at least somehow appear on my lips. I'm pretty much on it when on a daily use. I'm gonna put a lip liner under this, but for the purpose of this first impression, I am not gonna like put anything because I under it, because I do want to show how it looks just as it is. And mine is in the shade, what was this one? Hot Take, so 040 if you're thinking, and I am hoping that this has a bit of a color to it, but let's just go ahead and apply it. Okay, I'm gonna take back what I said. I want a lip liner with this one, because this is actually much more pigmented than I anticipated, so... I am a bit scared. How... Okay, I'm a bit scared how uneven my lip line is looking, because I wasn't exactly expecting this much of pigment, because I did look at the photos of the lighter shades and I was thinking that okay, those are just gonna be like basically a sheer 2 lip balm on my particular skin tone, but actually this one, there is a fair bit of color in this, though I will say we are matching with the sort of cherry cheeks at the moment. So in terms of choosing my cheek products and lip products matching, this was actually a pretty good match. I'm definitely going to be like using a lip liner with this one, because this is like, with this one I was like very afraid that how uneven this is looking, but I think I managed to make it. First impression, how is this feeling? It is definitely not as dry and as sort of because I did test out on my spring edit video, I did test out the sort of clicky pen lip balms that they came out on the spring edit, and I wasn't a fan of those. I actually ended up decluttering the sort of gloss that I had in that format, because I felt that it was very tuggy. It almost felt like it was just very stiff to work with, and I barely got like any color on the lips. Well, obviously with this one, no issues with the colors. The color is definitely there, and this is I'd say feeling like definitely like that there is some hydration with this product. So actually I do say that for a sort of product that is advertised as a colored lip balm, this is actually pretty much fulfilling the boxes that this is like product is advertising it to be. But I am going to keep testing this out. Obviously with these kind of products, it's a lip balm, so it's probably gonna wear off the minute I'm gonna drink water or anything, but so far at least it feels like hydrating, it feels nice on the lips, and we did get a matching color with my cheeks, so hey, that's a good thing. But yeah, that was the sort of last product I had with this video, so let's get now to the final conclusions. And the hair is staying closed for today, because again, I'm in a situation where I need to wash my hair, so we are not gonna open it today. So what were sort of my favorites and maybe not so favorites? So I definitely on the win list, I do think that the lip balm and the mascara from Catrice, so these, I'm holding it upside down. So these were sort of, I think, better and even maybe like exceeded my expectations from what I had for these based on at least the previous products that I had tried in the same category from the brand. So with these two, I do say that we're on a good start. The corrector, I have to keep trying this out a bit longer to see that do I actually feel and see a difference in terms of my under eyes, but at least in terms of the formula, this did feel nice and it didn't feel that this went on cakey or anything like that. And especially as someone who is already having like 30 plus like under eyes, it's pretty important that at least the under eye products don't feel that they're enhancing some of the like wrinkles and such. The pink powder, the Bright and Blur powder from Catrice, again, this is something that I have to keep on trying and testing out. Definitely today I should not have even tried to do the baking thing because that's just not suitable for my under eye skin anymore. But I will keep trying this out with just putting a one layer, like a normal layer of powder with this one to see that how I feel about the brightening effect. In terms of like how fine this was definitely like a drugstore powder in terms of the fact that when I like opened this up, some powder did come out, so just be aware, just be careful when you open this one. But it didn't also feel like it's the, like, I don't feel that my under eyes also looked that this was like super thick or anything, so for a powder formulation in general, this seems to be quite okay for the drugstore. So something that I have to keep trying out is this Baby Got Bronze. I do think in terms of shade match this is pretty good, but be very careful if you have a fair skin tone like I do, because this was very pigmented on the go, even though I tried to be very careful with the brush when I picked it up from the back palm of my hand. But I have to keep trying this out because with the patchiness that I saw, I actually do have the blush that was in the Spring Edit stuff in the same rotation I'm trying this in. So if I have the similar issue with blush, then I can say that it's now the foundation, because the blush has previously in this similar formula has worked really well for me, so then I can say that it's the foundation. But if the blush still works fine and this is still looking like it's a bit patchy, then I will have to make my conclusions that maybe this formula is not as good as with the blush is. But again, I want to keep trying this out because I do think that the shade match is pretty good. Then something else that will be on the try list that I will have to try a bit more. So this is the Soft Peony eyeshadow palette. So far I am liking the look that I did get today, but my question maybe this is the durability of the shadows, how long these will last in a daily use. Obviously for today I'm not going to be doing a too long of a day. This makeup will be washed out I think pretty quickly after I've ended my sort of filming my videos for today. So when I will be using this during work days, I will see that how long these last, and also the versatility of this one, because it is still, you don't have that many shades, so we shall see how many iterations of the different looks I can actually get. Then maybe the products that so far I wasn't such a big fan of, at least based on first impressions, are these ones. So the stick highlighter and stick blushes. So the highlighter are probably just not a product like meant for someone like me. Maybe if you are a teen or a preteen of a young adult who wants this sort of maybe like a festival holo highlighter thing, then this could be good. But for me, the highlighter definitely was too much reminding of like just glitter put into Vaseline. The blush, I do actually like the shade, but however, I wasn't such a big fan of that. This definitely did cling into the sort of patches that I had on my cheeks, so spreading this out did require a bit more work. So I will have to keep testing this out because I do actually think the cherry shade is nice, but so far the formula seems to be that it's not as blendable when you get it on your cheeks. But yeah, those were sort of my thoughts about these products that I had for this video. So I'd very much like to hear, have you been already able to spot any of this Catrice or Essence Fall Edit stuff, and if you have bought them, then what products did you buy? Because this was certainly like not everything. These collections, both the Essence and Catrice ones, they usually have a loads of like different stuff, so I only pick the ones that I like, and I would also advise anyone buying that just pick the stuff that you like. And there are sometimes very good like gems in these, but there are also definitely misses in these, and I will keep reviewing these, and these will be ending up in my collective review videos at some point, so you will get my final thoughts about these later on. If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell button if you want to get notifications for my future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I will be seeing you again soon. Bye bye!